This diagram gives us a roadmap of the class. The values, we talk about core values and the number of organizations there. This is who we are as individuals and as an organization, the guardrails, the things that we want to constrain us and guide us as we go forward. The mission, this is what we plan to do. This is our reason for being. This is our purpose. And then these 5 elements here, 5 functions of management, this is how we're going to do what we do. Starting with diagnosing the actual problem. And we talked there about organizations like Willow Creek Community Church. Right, you recall their diagnosis of their discipleship system. Good management begins with good, solid diagnosis of the problem. Follow on with planning, and we discussed goal setting and SWOT analysis there, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Structuring is where we are right now, followed by staffing, followed by leadership. Over the next several weeks, we will cover all of these. And what we're talking about today with organizational structure is probably the most esoteric, most abstract area of the entire course. It can be kind of confusing. It can be kind of out there, I guess. Some students really, even after we go through it, aren't entirely sure what we're talking about, can't get their arms around it. But if we do this well, we're in a much better position to get good results. And you see the tagline we put on it, or the definition, designing the organization to support the plan or the strategy. How we build the organization actually matters. You might be familiar with the name Marissa Mayer. If you're paying any attention to the business press, you'll know her name because people are talking about her incessantly. Who is Marissa Mayer? CEO, recent, last few months, CEO of Yahoo, used to be at Google. She's 38 years old or so. She makes a ton of money, and she has been in the news lately. Why? Does anybody know?
She said they can't work from home anymore.
She said that no employee from Yahoo can work from home anymore. You have to come into the office. In a tech company. What is up with that? I mean, that seems totally bizarre. Of course you should be able to work from home. Of course you should be able, everybody has access to all the information that they need. Why is she talking about, and this is a structure issue, that's why I'm bringing it up right now. Why is she talking about restructuring the work, redesigning the way work is done at Yahoo, and making it significantly more difficult for some people to do their jobs? Why would she do that? Just to make headlines, just to kind of get on the map, just to get people talking, just to shake up people, just to show them who's boss? What's the reason that she might do that? Cassie, you remember the rationale?
Yeah, it's collaboration, like working together for ideas.
Exactly. If we're going to be a more innovative organization, if we're going to come up with better ideas, if we're going to come up with better products, if we're going to beat Google, if we're going to beat Facebook, if we're going to beat all these other services out there, then we have to be more innovative. And the only way to do that, she says, this is her argument, the only way to do that is if we're face-to-face, if everybody's coming into the office and working together, because if we work at a distance, we're far less effective. We need to restructure the work. We need to do things differently than we have been doing them. If you're looking for a definition of organizational structure, here it is, a formal definition at least, would be something like the design of an organization, how we build it, so that it can achieve its goals. That's not all that formal. It's pretty straightforward, but it's how we're building the organization so that we can reach our goals, so that we can actually get results. And the structure should support the strategy. I mean, if you go back to this, to the ovals here, the structure follows, it's at the end of the arrow, from planning, from strategic planning. And if structure follows strategy, then structure can, in fact, support it. We have a plan in place. You have to build the organization in such a way that the plan can be implemented. That's the idea. And if you're looking for plain English, well, simplest terms, how the work is going to get done. How are we going to do what we do? How are the jobs going to be designed? How is the organization going to be structured? How are the decisions going to be made? And this is what I mean by it being a little bit abstract. But you'll get it. And I think you'll get it because we're going to very concretely study some of the basics and best practices of this over the next few minutes with the backdrop of a company that does this as well as any company that I'm aware of, a company that you read about for today, that being Pixar Animation Studios. So as we do that, as we explain some of the nuts and bolts of organizational structure, we'll also take a look at some product samples from Pixar. product samples, including some clips from The Incredibles and Finding Nemo and Monsters, Inc., and we'll also study the backdrop for this movie, Cars. Some of you, if you've seen these movies, are familiar with this, but we're not going to watch long segments of this, but we're studying pieces of it because they bring to life, if you will, some of the more or less mundane concepts that we're studying today. One approach to structuring an organization, one approach to getting the work done. And if any time I'm saying structure and it's confusing you, just think, okay, how the work is going to get done. One approach to getting the work done is to build the system in a way that is flexible. Gives employees a lot of latitude, a lot of autonomy, a lot of flexibility in how to get the work done. They have the decision-making power, rather than the supervisor or the boss and someone always having to tell them how to get the work done. Here are the goals. You find your own way to reach those goals. And you see, and on each one of these slides, you're going to see pros and cons. The big plus here is that the ingenuity, creativity, the inventiveness of the employees can be leveraged. Rather than me just dictating to you how you have to get the work done, I'm going to leave it up to you. And if you have some innovative abilities, then you may be able to do it far better than I could ever dictate it to you. And employees tend to like that. So it's good for morale. It tends to be good for retention, especially of your high performers. People tend to stay in organizations where they feel like they can get something done, where they feel like they can get something done that's meaningful. And so a flexible work system can help you there. The downside, think about it from a manager perspective. Think about it from the perspective of the person who is ultimately responsible for the results. If I give you all of the latitude to get the work done, then the results that you get I am accountable for, and that is giving up a whole lot of power, isn't it? That's giving up a whole lot of control. One of the reasons that companies, that managers, that people don't like these flexible work systems is because they give up control over what happens and how it happens and when it happens. And in some ways, they may end up trading off efficiency for effectiveness. More on that in a couple of minutes. Contrast this flexible work system with something that you might call a standardized work system. There is essentially one right way to get the work done, or one established way, and everybody uses that process. And you can think about General Motors as an example, an assembly line process where we're doing the same thing over and over again, and that tends to be extremely efficient. Whereas a flexible system might be something more like, like Pixar, like we're studying, where people have a lot of latitude. This is more like any kind of manufacturing environment where the work gets done through these established processes. So the upside, costs tend to be lower, it's efficient, work is performed in a way that management can control it. The downside to it, well, it says it here, it doesn't leverage skills, creativity, it can stifle innovation, it can bore or burn out employees. Now what I want to do is, because like I said, this is kind of dry stuff. And it is a bit abstract. So show you two clips here. One from, and I don't know how much I need to explain this. How many of you are familiar with this movie, The Incredibles? How many of you have actually seen that? Most, if not all of you. It's a suburban family of superheroes. We're going to see a clip here where they're fighting a villain. What was his name? Some of you guys probably know his name. Syndrome, all over that. You know this stuff better than I do. This family of superheroes is fighting Syndrome. It's about a 4 or 5 minute clip. Don't watch it for entertainment, please. Although it is quite entertaining. What I'm looking for you to watch for is the system, the work system that is behind what they're doing. It'll immediately be followed up, without commentary, by this other clip from Monsters, Inc. Now, how many of you have seen that movie? One hand will suffice. You don't have to put up both. Yeah, or was that cheering? Yeah, we're seeing some Pixar in this class. Monsters, Inc. is absolutely brilliant. I mean, absolutely ingenious the way they came up with this. This is monsters who need energy for the monster world. How do they do it? By entering the bedrooms of these little kids, making them scream in the middle of the night, and as they scream, that fills up the tank of energy in the monster world. Who comes up with this stuff? Pixar comes up with this stuff through various kinds of processes that we'll get into later in the class. But let's watch these two clips and contrast the two work systems.